I must say that, we've been concerned about the direction the country was taking. And in the last few years, it was clear that there were people with criminal intents who were committed to work outside the law and the Constitution to capture elements of the state and gain access to the resources, loot the coffers of the state, and then make the government fail to deliver the services it's supposed to deliver to the people of South Africa. And we've been going through that. And we protested. We made sure that the government cleans up the whole justice system, put up commissions. And now we are at the end of that process where people who have indeed acted outside the law feel that there is now a possibility of going to jail. And they want to avoid that by either destabilizing the country or making sure that you never take them to jail, or using unconstitutional means to protect themselves. And they are also using the loot as resource to fight the struggle, which is a fight back against us cleaning the system. And the day when the former deputy president failed to honor the Constitutional Court ruling, that was the clear indicator that we are now beginning to work outside the Constitution. This is what motivated this group. And it's a group of people who talked amongst themselves. Some people say it's veterans of the ANC. Yes, there were veterans amongst them of the ANC, but it's the people of South Africa. You know, civil society, business people, labor, academics, etc., who said this is a bad signal for this country. If we don't stop it, this country is going to go to the dogs. And so the concept here is the people of South Africa, let me put it this way, when everything has failed, when the parties have failed us, when Parliament fails, the people of South Africa are the last line of defense. And that's why we have come together as leaders. There were about 300 plus leaders in the virtual meeting last Wednesday, and we went public on Thursday to say we must defend our democracy.
Sorry, Reverend, that's quite a number of individuals. Can you give us timelines or what it is that you are hoping to achieve, and in what sort of period?
Well, clearly, the first thing was to send a clear signal that if anybody thought they will use their resources, capture the governing party, and go into power and continue with this project, it's not going to happen, because the people of South Africa are going to stand against that. Secondly, we have agreed that the leaders who are there, because they come from different constituencies, go back to their constituencies, get them to sign up to this campaign. I was told yesterday we have reached 3,000 people who have signed up already since Thursday. And I believe that is going to be a swell of people of South Africa who are saying, no, we have allowed this thing for too long. We're not going to allow it now. They're going to be limited, symbolic actions. Because of the pandemic, we can't go into the streets. If it was according to me, we would have had mass rallies throughout the provinces to indicate that to those who have criminal intent or committed crimes, that they are not going to hide and destabilize this country, bring it down with us because they don't want to go to jail. And I think the people of South Africa cannot allow it, are determined. The criminals are always few. There are never many, but it's us who allow people who are corrupt to continue destroying the country.
Well, Reverend, if I could ask you a question.
Yeah.
You clearly stated that there's been defiance of the highest court in the land by some of these individuals. Do you suppose that the same individuals will pay attention to 3,000 signatures or multiple signatures or hundreds of thousands of signatures if they do not listen to the highest court in the land?
Well, I think if people intend on acting outside the Constitution in any way, I mean, people who have been involved in this corruption have been acting outside the Constitution. They have been acting outside the law. But they believe that they can use the loot to influence people to stop going to jail and then reach the levers of power and govern this country. And if you go within the ruling party, the governing party, there are those who believe they can buy branches, end up with a president who's corrupt, and impose that on the country in terms of our current constitution. And what we are saying is that we've been here before. The people of South Africa have resisted the apartheid system at great cost. And we're going to make sure that you can corrupt all the systems. We're going to make sure that you don't get close to the levers of power. And this has been our experience in the last 12 years. And I think we must make sure we don't have another 5 years of this destruction.
Now, something that I picked up from your statement online was they say democracy is being subverted by a purposeful cartel that is undermining good governance and accountability. Purposeful cartel implies a huge amount of power. How do you intend to deal with these cartels, Reverend?
Yeah, but they actually developed to where it is because we allowed them. I mean, we have people in government who collaborate with people in business who are all having criminal intents to benefit themselves, steal the resources of the country, even take the money outside the country, leave us in a junk status, leave our SOS struggling the way they are struggling, some of them collapsing. We allowed it because people of South Africa always believed.
I understand we've allowed it, Reverend. What I'm not understanding is how do we stop it? How do you intend to stop it? How will the movement stop this?
Well, we're going to make sure that people who have committed crimes go to jail. And that's what needs to be done. We're going to make sure we mobilize people on the ground. And the South African Council of Churches has got a system called LEANS, which is local economic networks. And there are other civil society groups that are doing the same. We're going to make sure from ward level to municipalities, we have got audit reports which show exactly where the wrongs are being done. We're going to get the people of South Africa take responsibility for our lives. If there are people who have been given a tender to fix the potholes and they are not being fixed, we are going as people of South Africa to stand up and say this must come to an end. We're going to make sure that, that sewage system, that's a mess in the Vaal, which has been happening for a number of years, does not happen in this country. So there are things we must make sure they don't happen. I think the mistake of the last few years is that the people of South Africa left it to the politicians, believed them that they will solve these issues. But the politicians spend more time fighting amongst themselves so that they can gain an access to this pie. And we must stop that. This is what South Africans are all about. And that's my view. I mean, and it's a view of many people. If you listen to Mujango Kumbi, I like the way she puts it. She says, I'm not a member of the ANC. I've been on the sideline thinking this thing won't affect us. They will fix it. But clearly, what is happening within government, it's affecting every citizen. And we need to come together. And this is what this group is about. It's across the board. It's not a party-based system. And we made sure we get credible leaders to work with, and they are now multiplying themselves throughout the country.
Just give us very quickly, Reverend, some of the organizations and possibly leadership of this movement that are involved.
No, I can. I mean, I don't have the list here with me where I am, but there's a full list that has been made public. I think the media has got it. It has got all the organization. It has got a list of all those leaders who attended on Wednesday, and the sectors they represented. All that is available. I can make it available to you.
Well, Reverend, thank you kindly for speaking to us this morning. Reverend Frank Chikane, representing Defend Our Democracy movement.